Hello, and welcome to Wealth is Possible, the show where we talk about personal finance and building wealth. We are your hosts, Vino, Vince, and Evan. We'll be discussing various methods of building wealth and growing your cash flow, including the stock market, real estate, cryptocurrency, and various business ventures.
So welcome back to Wealth is Possible, another episode. This is episode number 9.
Alrighty.
Ooh. And on today's show, we'll be talking about credit cards.
Damn.
Okay. All about credit cards. Everything you didn't know or thought you knew about credit cards.
And you just might know that it might not be a bad thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, it can be very helpful at times, for sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of people out here that would assume, oh, you'll never get a credit card. You always do cash.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people that have credit cards, but that will still just use their debit every single day. Right?
Yep.
So we'll touch upon all those things.
For sure. Before we get into that, like every episode we go through, we'll talk about some random thing right before we get into it.
Okay.
So today,
what do you got?
we'll be talking about Apple versus Amazon in the ebook market. It's actually something I retweeted today. A thread. And I thought it was really interesting. So I think we should.
You should also follow us on Twitter. Our link's actually down below.
Every episode we put it in the description.
Yeah. Interesting stuff.
And if you didn't know, Elon Musk actually just bought 9% of Twitter, and he's actually monetizing Twitter.
At the time of this
recording, which is
he's monetized. How's he going to monetize it?
He's charging $3 a month for Twitter Blue, which is kind of like YouTube Red. And Twitter Blue basically means you can edit your tweets. You can get a check mark, which means you won't have any bots. Bots cannot contact you anymore. And there's a couple other things, but you get the check mark. You get to be part of a certain community with all those.
But
people
apparently there's going to be 2 different check marks now.
Yeah, so the celebrities will have whatever, but then the people who are Twitter Blue, you pay $3 a month, you have that check mark as well. So also you don't get advertisements anymore.
Oh yeah.
So would you pay $3 to not get advertised anymore?
Down the road when
no more imagine no more sponsored tweets. No more
promoted
very
tweets. Clean experience.
Back in my day when I started on Twitter back in 2009.
Me too.
We had all these perks without $3 a month. So I don't know how.
But it's not bad, right? Like think about it. So basically, the only reason we're like bombarded with ads or because Twitter has to make money somehow.
Right. Which is reasonable.
So if they can make $3 off of a certain percentage of users, they don't need to. They can take away ads for those people.
So hypothetically, if they had a
think
million
about how many people, how many users they have.
Twitter, if they had a million people doing that, that's $3 million a month.
Yeah, and they have way more than 1 million people.
Oh yeah,
way more. Like it's the most influential social media.
What is it? You think they probably let's just Google how many people are on Twitter right now?
Yeah, Twitter users. Let's see here.
It's completely off topic. I don't know what we're doing today, but
users.
That's why you're following us.
So after this, as of the second quarter of 2021, Twitter had 206 million monetizable daily active users worldwide.
Wow,
206 million times 3 is almost 1 billion a month.
It's like 600 million, yeah.
No, 200 times 3.
It's about 600 million.
600
times $3, no?
Yeah, 600 million. 200 times 3.
Oh shit! I'm so sorry. I'm actually on Ramadan right now, so I haven't eaten all day. So
He might sound a little lost at times.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money, right? It's not bad.
But I mean,
that's the first thing Elon Musk did. He literally bought 9%, and he's like, "Let's
already
monetize
making
this shit."
changes and stuff,
smart,
right? That's
bro,
crazy.
smart.
He's a smart guy, man.
He's doing a lot more than those changes, but I'm glad.
But he's gonna implement the whole NFTs and what is the other thing? Crypto and stuff like that. Like he basically actually said he might let people. I think he was just throwing this out there just to troll and stuff. But he was saying you might be able to pay for the subscription with Doge.
Wow.
He just threw that out there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's trolling a lot.
Yeah, he trolls a lot.
You never know what's going to be true with that guy.
But the edit button's pretty clutch. I can see I can be useful.
I thought he was going to do it for free. That's why I said I replied to his tweet.
I didn't even know about the whole $3 thing.
Yeah. But think about it. Like there's a lot of people who can afford it will be like, no, it's a no-brainer.
$3 not that serious.
Especially people who are creators will do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You have a whole that $3, like the creator will have more of a, like, you know what I mean, like you'll only see who you follow now.
Yo, it's actually clutch
once you get it. Like right now, you see a whole bunch of shit you don't want to see on Twitter, right?
That's true.
On every platform.
And
But imagine you can actually, like, the whole purpose of Twitter is you only see the tweets of the people that you follow.
No, but
That was the original thing, right?
I would even like bring it back to the whole the edit button, right? Because sometimes like I'll write out like a fire ass tweet, and then like I'll make a mistake, so I had to delete it, and then like when I rewrite it, like I forgot exactly what I wrote down, and I'm like, fuck. So if you have an edit button, you can just go in there and just edit it. But
I'm like a super like grammar Nazi. So like if I make a mistake, I'm like, that's done. I'm deleting that shit.
Trust me.
You won't even make the mistake in the first place.
No, I have.
Yeah,
you make mistakes.
Okay, and I'm like, I'm not leaving this shit up there.
Yeah,
you know?
Trust
and
me.
it'll be like a fire tweet too. Like But yeah. So there's this thread basically so how it starts is in 2010 Amazon was creating an ebook monopoly. I'll show you guys here. So until Steve Jobs stopped them in their tracks. This is the epic story. This epic story is a masterclass in negotiation. Okay. Might as well just read it. You can't see it.
We can't even see it.
Yeah. Okay, so in 2010 Amazon sold 1.5 million Kindles. You guys know what Kindles are, right?
Yeah.
And they were the leader in the ebook market. And at the same time, Apple was preparing to launch the iPad, where they wanted to sell ebooks, right? So they had 120 million paying customers on iTunes. So they had unmatched distribution potential, right? So. And the iPad also had capabilities far beyond ebooks, right? And the Kindle didn't. So this is basically this story is basically Apple versus Amazon, right?
Yeah.
So
I can see how that was a I didn't you never even think about that.
It's Kindle versus iPad.
iPad looks way better.
Yeah, iPad kind of blew it out of water. But something about the Kindle, it's still like very nice. It's very like
very simple.
Yeah, I didn't know that like, you know, the Kindle and the iPad came around the same times. Like I thought I remember the iPad was revolutionary. For sure.
It was revolutionary. But I literally thought that just based off the overall technology, I always thought that the Kindle was like 5, 6, 7 years behind the iPad.
See, because what happened was because Kindle was already out when the iPad.
So the iPad probably piggybacked off.
Yeah.
The
so
Kindle.
the iPad, Steve Jobs was probably like, oh, okay, so you did this. We have this. We're putting out this computer tablet thing that basically can do what you're doing and more, right? But basically he saw the success of the Kindle. The Kindle sold 1.5 million units, right?
Wow.
That's, you know, that was big.
Did Amazon make the Kindle?
Yeah, Amazon owns the Kindle.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Device.
Was there any other like reader type?
No, I think they were the first.
Wow.
They were one of the first. Yeah.
They were the leader in the ebook market in 2010.
You never really think of Kindle when you think about Amazon anymore. That's crazy, right?
Yeah,
I remember back in the day, like you would make that association.
Yeah, but it's still out there, and they release new models and stuff like that. Yeah.
So basically, Steve Jobs thought he could do to publishing what he did to the music industry. He already dominated the music industry with
Steve
iTunes.
Jobs. Yeah.
Right? But here's the problem that he had. Amazon had a deal with the 6 largest book publishers to wholesale titles at $13 each.
Wow. Okay.
So then they sold those to consumers for $9.99, losing $3 per copy.
Wow.
Amazon.
Yeah. They lost $3 on every single one
for every copy. Wow.
So the alleged plan was to prevent competition by selling at a loss.
Yeah.
So no one could.
Sometimes you gotta do that.
Yeah.
A lot of companies, you'd be surprised. A lot of companies sell certain things at a loss just to attract in customers to buy other things.
Look
at Uber. Right? Uber loses so much money. Every single day. You know what I mean?
That's true.
But they have market share. You know, everybody knows what Uber is in the whole world, in the world, right? So that basically that was the plan, and then they used the leverage to get better terms with publishers, right? So Steve Jobs viewed Amazon's sell below cost strategy as predatory and was determined to put a stop to it. So Steve Jobs wanted to charge $14.99 per book, including a $4.50 commission for Apple.
Wow.
For each sale of the book. But he knew he couldn't compete with Amazon because they were selling at $9.99.
Oh shit. Okay.
Right? So he had a plan. So in exchange for access to Apple's 120 million customers, the publishers had to agree to a deal. So the titles will be priced at between $12.99 and $14.99 on Apple's iBooks. I didn't even know iBooks was a thing.
I've never really heard.
You
of
never
iBooks.
even had this. You never even opened.
That tells
it.
you everything you need to know.
But this is back in the day, I guess, right? This is 2010.
They probably. I feel like they still have iBooks.
It's probably an app on the iPhone, but I've never opened that shit.
Yeah, or just books now.
Yeah, the books. Yeah.
Okay.
So if Amazon didn't want to play ball, they'd lose access to listing the ebooks from the publishers. So in exchange for access to Apple's 120 million customers, publishers had to agree to a deal. Titles would be priced at $12.99 to $14.99 on Apple's iBooks and any other platform. Okay, so Steve Jobs said, we will give you access to all of our customers, 120 million.
Wow.
But you have to price any book that you sell at our price that we decide. So and on every platform. So that means Amazon's price cannot be $9.99 anymore. Steve Jobs is like saying, if you want all of our customers, you got to bring Amazon's prices up. Otherwise, Amazon can't work with you. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So Jobs quickly got 4 of the 6 biggest publishing houses to agree, and then so he was craving his customer base. They were happy to pay. Craving. I don't know why I use that word. They were happy to pay the 30% commission too. The customers were paying the 30% commission on top of the price of the book. But HarperCollins, which is the largest publisher, they refused to comply. They wanted to stick with Amazon. So then, out of nowhere, HarperCollins agreed to all of Apple's terms, and the deal was finalized on January 26th.
Out of nowhere. Who knows what goes on behind the scenes?
Somebody definitely died. Somebody definitely died.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh,
So only, and this was all. Guess what? Guess when this happened? This happened one day before the iPad release.
Wow.
They agreed to Apple's terms.
It's some timing shit, bro.
One day before iPad comes out.
You hear all these news articles and headlines, but you don't really know what goes on.
What's
behind
actually
the
going on
scenes.
behind the scenes? Yeah.
So normally the brilliant negotiation skills of Steve Jobs are reserved for legend.
Oh, these guys are geniuses, bro. Like the way they have their strategies in business and all these things played out. It's like a master game of chess.
They probably already had the assignment for it. Like they probably already like had it, but just like you know how whenever Steve Jobs comes on, what are those things called?
Keynotes.
The keynotes.
Yeah.
And he's like, but one more thing. Right.
Yeah.
That was probably like a value add that he kind of surprised the people with. It's probably like a marketing thing that Apple's very calculated. Yeah.
Okay, so here's something that happened. So in 2012, Department of Justice lawsuit against Apple and the publishers for price fixing, because that's what they did. They fixed the prices at the price that they wanted to sell at.
So it's against the law.
Revealed how he got this deal done. So that's what this thread is basically going to talk about.
He knew what he did was against the law, but he still did it because the law you don't care about the law.
Yeah, this is crazy. I never heard of this before, right?
It's like what Andrew Tate says, right? Like rich people don't follow the law. Rich people don't have rules or laws. You know, they just pay fines.
They just have lawyers that are fully paid off.
Yeah. You just do whatever you want and you just pay the fine. That's what it is. Yeah.
So it only took him 2 emails to get this done. And we're gonna see what's actually was in the emails.
No way, that's crazy. Okay.
Yeah, it's a brilliant thread.
Who's the guy tweeting this?
Barrett O'Neill.
Barrett O'Neill.
Some guy. I don't know who the hell he's. Yeah, but he's just brilliant for doing this. So here's what the tactics that he used. So before diving into Jobs' dismantling of HarperCollins, we must understand their objections. Okay, so they were concerned about Apple's high commission, price control across platforms, and standardizing pricing rather than title by title. Because obviously, like for example, Harry Potter should be more expensive than like some other book, right? Some random book, or like a popular series should be more expensive than like a brand new book or something, right?
Yeah.
But this was like every single book was at a fixed price, and Apple was getting a commission off every single book.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Which is like Apple would have been like way up if they got this done. Right? Imagine every single book until now, like Apple gets a commission off every book I sold online.
Jeez.
Imagine, right? So here's what he did. So basically, he made it a win-win scenario. So Jobs explained that it's in HarperCollins' best interest for Apple to make money selling ebooks. So without a profit, why would any company, Apple or Amazon, continue to do the business with HarperCollins in the long run if they don't make a profit off the deal, right? So So the current business model of companies like Amazon distributing ebooks below cost or without making a reasonable profit isn't sustainable for long. As ebooks become a larger business, distributors will need to make at least a small profit, and you will want this too, so that they invest in the future of the business with infrastructure and marketing. So Jobs massively positions his profit as a win for HarperCollins and the creators. So then Apple will use their profits to reinvest to improve the ebook experience and business for the customers. So Apple's basically, what he's saying is like, like Apple's going to make money, of course, but they're going to reinvest it into the experience for the consumer. Then overall, over time, the consumer will be more interested in buying books online, and they'll buy more of HarperCollins books.
So it's like a win-win at the end of the day.
And it's kind of like the watermelon and the grape thing. You know what I mean? It's like you could do fine on your own, but if you have us, we will like exponentially grow
better.
It's for those of you that don't know the watermelon and grape thing. It's like the concept is: would you rather have a whole grape, or would you rather have half a watermelon? And obviously, like at the beginning, when people naturally hear 50%, they're like, okay, I want 100%. But we gotta look at it: 50% of
especially when it's like they own the IP or they have all the cash or something like that, right? They're like, okay, well, why do I need you, right?
Yeah. Well, like he's going back to like half the watermelon has way more fruit and way more juice than like one whole grape, right? Yeah. So you gotta think of it like that, right?
Yeah. So let's see here. So it also subtly casts doubt onto Amazon's motives. Why would Amazon continue to sell the books at a loss?
What was the intention behind selling at a loss? Was it just mainly for promotional purposes?
That's the question that Steve Jobs asked HarperCollins. That's how he convinced HarperCollins to agree to the terms. He's like, why would Amazon sell at a loss? There's something wrong there, right? Yeah. So then the second tactic he used was invoke loss aversion. So it took Amazon 18 months to sell 1 million Kindles. Apple did that he said Apple's going to do that in weeks. With the iPad. Right? Yeah. So since a loss hurts more than a win feels good. So Jobs positioned not working with Apple as a major loss for HarperCollins. So analysts estimated that Amazon has sold more than 1 million Kindles in 18 plus months. We will never sell more of our new devices than all of the Kindles have ever sold during the first few weeks they are on sale. If you stick with just Amazon, Sony, etc., you will likely be sitting on the sidelines of a mainstream ebook revolution. That's what he said. Imagine you're like, I want to hold on to the Kindle and not get an iPad. Imagine.
Probably very few people that said that, right?
Now, some people actually really like the Kindle more than the iPad.
Well, like if you're just strictly using it for books, that's the only purpose is for books, right?
Yeah. But it kind of keeps the other distractions away.
But like the Kindle was priced at like $2, $3 or something, and the iPad when it came out wasn't that expensive. Now it's more expensive. They have different like the Pro and
when it first came out, it wasn't much more than the Kindle. Compared.
No. The iPad had way more, bro. Even at the beginning.
How much was the price at?
No. Price range. I don't know about price range.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, but it had more features.
Way more features.
No, that's what I'm saying. So obviously, because it was never marketed as an ebook thing, right? Yeah. iPad was basically like as like a computer, like in your hand.
Did the iPad even have Wi-Fi at the beginning?
Yeah. That's the only way. That's the only way it ran, right?
Okay.
It was just like having your computer in your hands.
Yeah.
Except Steve Jobs was probably like, oh, Kindle's doing so well though, let me just add that as a feature. You know what I mean? And let me just take all of Amazon's business.
And keep in mind, Apple had iPod Touch even before Kindle.
iPod Touch was way ahead of its time,
right?
Yeah. So iPod Touch was revolutionary.
Way ahead of its time, man. But you know what's more ahead of its time than anything? The PlayStation Portable, the PSP.
Yeah.
Getting a little bit off topic, but
we're way off topic.
This guy's
we haven't even gotten to credit.
What the fuck does that do with credit cards?
Okay, so HarperCollins' biggest risk was being sidelined for the ebook revolution. They didn't want to miss it. You know what I mean? So they'd lose their position as the leading publisher in the world. He used data and social proof to drive his point. This makes it more meaningful than his word alone.
So you're saying Steve Jobs is doing
this? He used data and social proof to drive his point. So it's more than him just being like, yo.
This guy's a master negotiator.
Hence why Apple's Apple, right?
Yes. So, and in the third point, he created leverage. Before going after the biggest publisher, he signed the deals with the 4 other large publishers. This plainly shows Apple did not need HarperCollins, but they'd love to have him.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
You just can't hate them, man. You just can't.
So Jobs added another layer by suggesting the second-tier publishers will jump at the opportunity, and this leaves the HarperCollins execs asking, will future authors want to publish with them if they don't have access to the iBook store? The power of leverage and distribution is real.
And Apple's been at the game much longer than Amazon, so most at that point HarperCollins
Amazon was like in its infancy at this point.
So do I really want to
Jeff Bezos probably learned a lot from Steve Jobs during that whole transition, right?
Yeah, most likely.
Well, you never know.
You
never know.
I mean, at that point, Jeff Bezos was like, damn, this guy's serious.
That's before the Jeffrey Bezos sign came out,
Okay, so Steve Jobs was willing to walk away, and he didn't bend to any of HarperCollins' demands, and even stated that he wasn't willing to build the ebook business without a solid foundation. He knew that at $9.99 price point, there wasn't enough profit for sustainability. So in 2016, Apple and the publishers were found guilty of price fixing and forced to pay over $450 million in restitution to consumers.
Wow. And Apple had already calculated that. They're like, cool.
Yeah. They're like, we already sent it over. What's up?
So Apple's defense was they were trying to prevent a antitrust violation monopoly by Amazon. While it may be true, breaking the law is never okay, according to Barrett O'Neill.
I'm sure you never.
I'm sure you
hate breaking the law.
Yeah, breaking the law is obviously never okay. So rather than judge the ethics, this thread aims to highlight the methodical negotiation tactics of business titans.
Yeah.
So for entrepreneurs, it shows defining your value proposition and positioning it with strength is how to succeed in high stakes negotiating.
You can learn a lot from these guys, man. Seriously. Yeah.
That's why I love Twitter.
Oh yeah, I mean
Twitter's it went from a place where you share your thoughts. Well, you're still sharing your thoughts, but now it's more. But
now industry leaders are on there, like people are giving us insights into like the biggest deals that ever happened.
It's becoming more so like I want to compare it to like Reddit, where it's almost becoming almost. I don't want to say it's completely,
but it's
like
more verified though. Like this is like these are like people that are like we're actually working at these companies and like are insiders in these companies. Reddit, it could be anybody talking from anywhere. You know what I mean?
I know, like these threads are like insane. Like, you can go on like a crazy
threads on Twitter are crazy.
I feel like they didn't really push the threads like a few years
recently
back.
Like during the pandemic it blew up.
Before it's like if you just reply to your tweet, it was like okay, cool, but like now it's like it's like this whole thing.
All right, so let's get into credit.
Okay.
Credit cards.
There we go. Now this is a moment that you guys have been waiting for.
Your whole lives.
Okay, so let's talk about the history of credit cards. Where do credit cards come from? Right?
Hold on. Before we get into that, if you guys are enjoying the show so far, make sure you guys are liking the video. Make sure you also subscribe as well and click the bell notification button as well, so you guys know whenever we drop new podcasts. We drop a new podcast every other Thursday, so check us out on Instagram as well. We post a lot of reels, so if you guys miss something that we said on the podcast, we usually highlight it on our reels. And we also make some dedicated reels as well, so we got some good shit on that Instagram page, and we're on TikTok there as well. So at Wealth is Possible, all the links are down below. And
and by dedicated reels, you mean like what Heaven means by dedicated reels is like reels that have answer a specific question. Like it's like, how do I do this?
Like for example, like we shot one on like what's it,
how to invest in real estate without buying real estate.
There you go. All right, so like so we they're fun. They're pretty fun. You guys should check it out. And also guys, if you guys have any questions, or if you guys want us to make an episode on something or make reels on anything, just leave a comment down below. And if you guys like the show, leave a comment down below as well.
Feel free to reach out to us on Instagram directly.
Not only does it help us out, like with like what kind of content to shoot for you guys, it also helps the algorithms out too. So it'll help push this content to more people who would enjoy it.
Just a little disclosure: everything that we're going to be talking about moving forward, a lot of it comes from this Netflix documentary called Money Explained.
And yeah, you guys actually click a link down to that below. We actually have an affiliated link. I'm joking.
So there's this documentary series called Money Explained on Netflix.
Well, it's explained as the series. But
Yeah, that's a series, and Credit Card is the second episode of that series. You guys should check it out. But after watching or listening to this podcast, you probably know the entire what's said in it, pretty much.
You probably won't even need to watch it.
But I think it's important because a lot of people will watch Money Heist and all Squid Games, but they'll never watch a documentary about
like
money,
an educational one.
An educational one where you learn something. So there's a chances are you've probably never seen it. Some people have seen it, but chances are you haven't seen it, and you'll probably learn something new right now.
Right? Well, even what Money Heist and Squid Games, it has like a lot of like life lessons. And shit.
Squid Games definitely, you get a lot of life lessons, but at the end of the day, guys, come on, you guys already know that shit. You guys already know those lessons, so it's now time to actually learn about money and like. This is actually practical stuff.
This is actually practical stuff that you can actually implement into your life. Exactly. And I guarantee you, most of you guys listening or watching right now, you guys have a credit card with either good credit, mediocre credit, or shit credit. So no matter where you stand, listen up.
Yeah, and the thing is, we this channel is called Wealth is Possible. The show is called Wealth is Possible. But at the end of the day,
wait, wealth is possible?
Oh yeah,
it is apparently.
Shit. Whoa, okay,
but
really is.
Wow. And at the end of the day, if you have like a giant chunk of debt, I don't know, is wealth possible at that point? Like you gotta get rid of the debt before you can build wealth, right?
Yeah, but debt is definitely
good,
possible.
Debt is definitely possible. There's good debt, there's bad debt.
There's good debt and bad debt. We'll get it. We'll do a whole episode on good debt and bad debt. But right now we're just gonna talk about.
We're just gonna focus on credit cards, just the whole concept of credit cards, how it works,
the history,
what the credit card companies, how they think, how how it was implemented. We'll do a whole different episode, with the good and bad debt and credit scores and all that stuff. We'll pretty much like a good overview of what we're doing today is you're going to kind of understand the intentions behind the credit card company, how they're profitable, and what sort of researches and stuff that they do to make money, right? So by you understanding that, you can actually get like a 1-up and you can beat the credit card system, right? And then the credit card companies will hate you for it, but hey, you want them to hate you. That's a good thing.
And you can really take leverage of all these advantages that they offer.
Exactly.
Right?
This is a legal way to beat the credit card system.
Exactly. And everybody makes content about investing, right? Nobody wants to make content about debt. Right, it's boring. No one wants to. There's a stigma around it. No one wants to share.
A lot of people don't like to share, right? And I see.
At the end of the day, so many people have debt, right? You just don't. No one's talking to you about it. No one's saying anything about it.
Exactly.
Because who wants to be like, hey, I have $10,000 in credit card debt? Like, who's really doing that, right? Everyone wants to be like, hey, I have 2 Bitcoins, right? That's what's
2
happening.
Bitcoins, but I'm also $200,000 in debt, and I want to kill myself. Right?
That's literally the reality, right?
It's true though.
You're not gonna go and tell all your friends, hey, look how much debt I have, right? A lot of people, but if you can figure out a plan on how to get rid of it and how to best handle it, then you can move forward.
Because that can really fuck you up mentally. I've been there. It can really fuck you up.
100%.
You gotta get that shit in order.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's get into the history of credit cards. So when did it start? So in September 1958, started in California, Fresno, California.
Not that long ago.
That
was like one person ago.
So the Bank of America decided to conduct an experiment. That's how it all started.
The Bank of America, these fucking cocksuckers.
So basically what happened was 60,000 residents randomly got a little plastic card in the mail. And it had their name, their address, the good through date, and Bank Americard at the top. That was the name of the card, right? And they were basically told that this little plastic card is loaded with $500 and they can spend it however they want. So at this time they were allowed to send credit cards to people without them
without getting pre-approved. Were there credit scores and stuff at this time?
No, there's no. This is the first experiment. None of that is existing at this time.
It's kind of like CERB. And what they're doing with the universal basic income. Very interesting.
And they marketed this as luxury and convenience, right? So they had all these commercials and stuff, just like they have now, but very in black and white back then, right?
And they're helping you, like CERB.
So in the first few years, surprise, surprise, most people didn't even pay it back. the $500, right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, there's no education as well, right?
Yeah.
These people had no idea what it is.
They just thought it was free money, right? They thought it was free money.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays people still think it's free money, right? That's the problem.
The
Right?
education's still not there. Right?
Yeah.
And so the bank lost $15 million in the first few years from doing this. Okay. So, so then eventually, that's where the credit scores came in, because they needed to, have a system
Keep
and all
the
that
score
stuff.
good.
Because that's how they characterize
It's like a tracking system.
They characterize people with the credit score, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we trust you, we don't trust you, blah, 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 right?
Just like the social credit system that's coming in. Oh my gosh.
That's
so many similarities.
Topic, but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so the credit card system is a game, basically, right? So it's a game where it's you versus the credit card system.
Yeah.
The credit card companies.
It's a good way to look at it.
That's how you got to look at it.
Yeah.
They're not your friend, obviously,
Of course.
but it's good to put that out there.
Yeah.
Right, because they're gonna send you offers and you're gonna be like, oh, I got approved for $5,000 credit card. Oh, they must think I'm like a sick. They must love me. They must think that
They start out special.
Yeah. They said it's only for you because of all your hard work. And, they're like, oh, I can get 10,000 reward points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't pay any interest for the first year.
Oh my
Wow.
god.
Oh my god, it's I can't pass this up.
Yeah.
So okay, so
I'm gonna go buy a TV.
exactly, right?
Even though I have 5.
Yeah, that was literally the 1960s. Everyone like, oh, I got this $500 credit card.
And you have $500.
Back then,
just for context, in 1958, like $500 is a lot of money. That's almost like
it's $4,500. It's $4,500. They said in the documentary, it's $4,500 of today's money.
That's
when was the documentary made?
Last year, like 2 years ago. Okay,
so it's probably like $4,800.
$4,800, $5,000,
crazy.
right? Okay, so basically the credit card game. So there's someone with extra money who's willing to lend it out, who's a creditor.
Yeah.
And then there's someone who needs extra money right now, and they're gonna pay it back later, and they're the debtor, right?
Yeah.
There's also this saying that the borrower is always lender to is always slave to the lender.
Yeah.
Which is
I
also
agree
true.
with that. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so anyway, so matching these two people up is one of the biggest engines of the economy. But matching up the lender and the borrower, right? But they need the credit card companies need to solve for risk to do this, and that's where the credit scores came into play. And 700 score basically meant you're low risk.
Yeah.
Anything below that means we don't know if we can trust you.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Right? So the word credit comes from the Latin word credere, which means to trust. I didn't know that. I actually just learned that today.
So it's a social trust system.
So okay, so this is what I'm about to say is basically coming from an ex-manager at Capital One, right?
And Capital One is a pretty big credit card company for those of you that don't know for whatever reason.
So credit card companies conduct tens of thousands of experiments per year to figure out how can I make the most amount of money from each person. Okay, so let's talk about the right way and the wrong way to use credit card, right? So basically for the credit card companies, think of it like there's 4 different players in the game. Or actually technically there's 2 different players in the game. We'll start with 2, right? There's the transactor and then there's the revolver. Right? The transactor is the person who pays their bill in full every single month.
I know somebody like that.
Yeah. We might have someone like that.
Yeah.
And then there's the revolver, someone who doesn't, and they carry a balance.
I also know somebody else like that.
Right? So basically, apparently in the US, 40% of people are revolvers, 40% of people are transactors, 20% don't have a credit card.
Dave Ramsey
I'm
types.
sure. Oh, you don't want to bring up the fourth one, which is the hackers.
Oh no, we're gonna get into.
You're gonna get into that. Okay.
Vino's always getting into
One step ahead.
Yeah, get the bonus. He's like the bonus round guy.
Yeah. So anyway, what you should think about at this point is which player do you want to be in this game, right? Do you want to be the transactor? Or do you want to be the revolver, right?
I want to be the hacker.
Okay. Okay. So essentially, the credit card company isn't on your team in this game. You're playing against them. They're on the other team. They're kind of like the ops, you know? And
fuck them ops.
yeah. So this is why
some slang for
so
you.
the credit card company has a inside term for transactors.
Slaves?
Okay.
No, transactors are the people that pay
Transactors,
their...
they don't like transactors.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So
You know what they call them?
So they call them, what do they call them?
Deadbeats.
Deadbeats.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. But in
They're not-
reality, it's actually the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
but
that's so true.
but they're just frustrated, right? They're
Yeah,
frustrated,
yeah.
like, oh, I can never make money on this
Yeah,
person,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Except through the merchant,
Yeah.
the merchant fees.
And we kind of spoke about this off camera. Ideally, they would purposely try to fuck you up by giving you more money. They'll be like, hey, you know what? This guy's paying back everything for 15,000. Okay, let me give this guy 25,000 or 30,000.
Yeah.
Let's give
Yeah,
this guy
so,
more money.
you know, I'm sure there's probably calculations where they're like, okay, what's a good amount where I can increase their credit where it's not gonna screw us over, but there's chances that this increase might make them get into that phase of life.
There's probably
where,
like actuaries and stuff that do the
yeah,
calculations.
it's all
and stuff.
actuarial
Yeah,
sciences and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's
It's
crazy,
crazy, right?
shit, man.
Crazy,
Yeah,
very
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
It's like we don't know how ethical that is, but it's very it's profitable.
It's a business. It's a business
at the
at
end
the
of the
end
day.
of
There's
the day,
nothing.
right?
There's a lot of things that are not ethical.
Yeah.
Capitalistic.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't even want to get into
Yeah,
Zuckerberg, right?
right.
Zuckerberg.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so basically every time you swipe your credit card, there's
Mhm.
a processing fee charged to the merchant, which is 2 to 4%.
Yeah, and
So
for those of you guys that are a little bit confused, the merchant is pretty much like the stores. Let's say you go to Walmart and you buy like some like Joe boxer underwear or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And you buy for like $7. There's a merchant fee that Walmart has to pay out when
Yeah.
you make that transaction,
Mhm.
right? That's why like a lot of big box stores, like you would see that they take like a Visa, MasterCard, and American Express. But a lot of smaller businesses don't take American Express because American Express actually has
Very high
the highest
merchant
fees.
Highest fees.
Right,
Highest fees.
and that actually chips into the merchants,
Their
so
costs.
the businesses' profits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
why they choose not to have like
And
American
then
Express.
you'll see a lot of smaller stores that don't even accept credit at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because they can't
they
afford to
just
pay
can't
their
afford.
they don't
fees.
even, exactly
Their
exactly.
margins are so tight
Yeah,
that they
but
just can't.
in my opinion, I think that's like that's like a very scarcity mindset. Because it's like
that's an opinion, right?
Yeah, like it depends on like what's your line of business.
It is,
but
yeah.
like
But however, like some situations could be like it's like a really tight mom and pop shop,
Yeah.
and like if they even risk a little bit, they might not be able to cover the rent.
100%. But what I'm looking at is that by giving people more access to different methods of payment, you're increasing your customer flow.
Yeah.
that's true too,
Right, but it also depends on
Their customers might not be
enough.
enough.
yeah,
to
they might be
justify.
selling to a niche of people that don't even have credit cards.
Yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
like a lot of Tamil restaurants and stuff, like that's what they are, right? Like
Yeah.
they only take cash.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then there's the other scenario where if they do take credit cards, they basically increase their price.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They add
because-
a little fee there.
Yeah,
right?
that's usually how it goes, though, right?
Yeah.
Like whenever the merchant has additional fees, it gets it reflects onto the consumer, right?
Yeah. If you're a transactor, the credit card company isn't making money off of you. They're making money off your swipes.
Yeah.
It's on the other end. So they make money off the revolver and the
Yes.
transactor. They just make
Yes.
more money off the revolver.
Exactly.
They make twice as much.
Exactly.
They have two streams of the transactor. They have one stream.
Only one stream, from the merchant side of
Plus fees if there's fees.
Makes
Right.
sense. That's why like, that's a lot of merchants.
They have multiple.
also
So off the revolver, they have three. They have multiple. So
potentially three.
no, actually more because there's penalties too.
There's penalties too.
And more likely they're more likely to pay the penalties, like overcharging the card and shit, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So off the revolver they have a stream of the fees, the annual fee if there's a fee, the interest. They have the what am I missing?
You were saying the penalty for overcharging, right?
The penalty,
Yeah.
and then I feel like the merchant.
The merchant.
The merchant. There's
Yes.
4 streams right there
Yeah.
off the revolver, right?
So to make this relation to like crypto,
Yeah.
Ethereum would be kind of like a different type of credit card, no? Like
I
or
don't
like
think
because
we can really
they charge like
compare it like
transaction, they charge like gas fees and stuff like that. Would that go towards Ethereum?
So
I wouldn't try to
that's
compare
payment.
that.
That's
I mean,
payment. So that's
yeah.
like so you would compare it only on the merchant fees. So that only on the merchant. So if everybody in the world was a transactor, you know what I mean. So only the transactors are the ones where it's just a merchant fee. So you would compare if everybody was a transactor, you would be like, okay, well, Ethereum's fees versus 2 to 4% on everything. Like remember the Top Shot episode? You're like, yo, these guys make 5% off every sale. That's crazy, right?
Yeah. Wait, you mean the Top Shot episode that's right above me right now? Like that Top Shot episode?
Yes.
Oh shit! Okay,
go check it out.
Yeah,
go check it out.
Yeah, go check it out.
But you're like, yo, 5% is crazy. Yo, 2 to 4% off of every swipe.
Yo, bro, that shit adds up. That shit adds the fuck up, bro.
This is a global thing. Top Shot, there's barely any people on the platform in comparison to people who use credit cards.
Yeah.
Right?
That's actually crazy when you think about it.
Think about that. Like every swipe, that's not including interest. That's not including the fees. You know what I mean?
That's why a lot of merchants, they give you a discount if you use cash.
Yeah.
It's all clicking, eh?
That's also another whole other thing to that. We won't get into that.
Yeah, because that's what they're removing the cash from the our monetary system, right?
Exactly.
Where everything will be taxed.
Yeah.
Even if you send your boy like an e-transfer.
Yeah.
Is that pretty? That's insane.
It's very
bro.
Scary.
That's insane. Imagine getting taxed. Imagine your mom needing like $20 or whatever, or like whatever. Imagine your boy needs like $20, whatever, and when you e-transfer him, you guys get taxed.
Yeah.
Like, huh?
Well, I mean, I'm sure like there's gonna be a whole set of things that come out once those systems come into play. Like transactions like that, they're not gonna tax you, right? You're just giving money.
You'd be surprised, bro.
I guess we don't know.
Income tax was supposed to be temporary for the war. It was literally, they created that to fund the war, and then it's supposed to be temporary. But ever since like the war ended, they're just kind of like.
Yeah, like,
well, they lost a lot of money, right, from the war. So like they spent ridiculously. Yeah.
And then they also started printing money too, right? So I don't know if they lost it. So
we can go down a whole rabbit hole.
We can't be doing that. Yeah.
Shit.
Okay. God damn it, Heaven.
Yeah. Sorry, guys.
Okay. So let's get back to the third player in this game.
Yeah.
Well, the third player is essentially the people with no credit cards.
Yeah.
But
so
the
we won't
fourth
even
player.
talk about those people.
Yeah. The fourth player is credit card hackers. Right,
it's a very small percentage.
And this isn't,
and no, guys, it's not what you're thinking. Yeah. It's not the Sangusen hacking. It's a different hacking. You know?
Yeah, it's not the people hacking bank accounts. We're talking about hacking the game of credit.
Yeah, I mean, this is in a legal way.
Yeah. The legal with the L, not the I.
Let's call them people who are beating the system.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, not taking advantage of the system. Actually, no.
You're taking advantage.
You are taking advantage of,
but you're not stealing anybody's money.
You're not hurting anybody.
You're not hurting anybody.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, so basically you're using the credit card company's tricks against them, essentially. That's what you're doing, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So the hacker is the only type of customer that the credit card company actually loses money on. Like, believe it or not, the people who actually don't have credit cards are also losing money. But like it doesn't go into the pockets of the credit card companies, but I'll explain that later. But so anyway, so Brian Jung, he's a YouTuber.
Yes,
he's actually featured in this documentary, and he's an example of a credit card hacker. Basically.
That guy's big on crypto. Sick guy.
Oh yeah.
Highly recommend his videos.
We'll put a link to that too.
Yeah, we should.
So basically, what a credit card hacker does is they basically use the credit card company's tricks against them to maximize their rewards, avoid fees, and never pay interest. That's what they do, right? So he basically said he has 20 to 30 credit cards, right? Which is someone listening to this is probably like, yo, like you're gonna get burned, right? Like you're bound to get burned, right?
Yeah.
But he has a lot of discipline to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
And time, a lot of discipline.
Right?
Yeah.
Like he's obviously like financially independent.
Yeah.
He's getting paid off YouTube. He probably has courses, Patreon.
He has passive income.
He has Discords, paid Discords.
I was literally watching his video on creating staking coins and stuff, and like how much money he makes off just like doing that. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Yeah, we'll do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, he actually blew up when the whole GameStop thing was. He was live streaming the GameStop thing.
No way.
So like he was like the one that like he showed how much he had in it and all
his videos are amazing. Yeah, right? It's good in every way. Like it's good. It's like a total package. I love his videos.
Yes.
He's a really good YouTuber.
Yeah. So basically, he logs all his credit cards and everything in a spreadsheet, and then it basically said it takes a lot of work to stay on top of them. And then in order to accumulate the amount of points that he has, in order to get free things, basically free flights, free, hotel stays, free food everywhere, right? But there's like a whole niche on YouTube of these people. There's so many people that do this. There's people in Canada.
I think Graham Stephan does it too.
Yeah.
Not on the level of some of these people, bro.
Yeah,
some of these people, like, literally their whole channel, they have a whole blog. They literally, and that channel, that following, literally pays for their living, right? On top of the perks. The perks are just extra.
Yeah.
Right? But
not future perks, like perks. Not Percocets.
yeah, what is perks even short for?
Percocets.
No, like the perks that we're talking about.
Oh, I think it's just perks.
That's a word.
I think it's just word. Yeah.
It's a kind of like bonus in a sense.
Perks.
Yeah.
Google it.
Let's just call it benefits. Okay.
Benefits. Yeah.
Okay. So all these benefits are partially paid for by the merchant fees.
Okay.
So all the benefits that all the free stuff, the free stuff.
Well,
right?
that's basically where these credit card companies are taking the money from to be able to afford to give these rewards.
Free flights, free food, groceries, stuff like that.
It's not like
Gas.
they're paying for it out of their pocket. Right.
Yes.
It's not like they're giving me free stuff. Nah, it's the other side of your transaction is paying for it.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Somebody has to pay for everything unless you're the government. Otherwise, you just print it out.
So we already talked about this. Many places are cash only because they don't want to pay fees, right?
Yeah.
We already went into most of this stuff. If you have a basic credit card, or you pay with debit or cash, you're paying more money for no reason because the merchants are increasing their price to cover the perks or benefits of these higher tier credit cards. So the people that are paying cash and debit are losing on average $1,100 out of their pocket a year.
Losing. Wait.
You don't feel it. It's kind of like inflation. It's kind of like inflation.
So wait, are you saying that in a sense of
because the costs are going up in the stores, and the costs are going up because of the merchant fees to subsidize the merchant fees.
Okay.
But these guys are paying more. They're not getting any perks or benefits from buying these things and spending
because they don't use credit cards.
They don't use credit cards.
Okay, so the price is going up regardless. The price is going up regardless because everybody else is using everyone else is using credit cards.
The merchants are trying to
yeah. So they have merchant fees. So because of that, they gotta adjust the cost according to that. So if
the people who are not getting any benefits from because they're paying cash, you're paying more for no reason.
Yeah.
So you might as well use your credit card and then get some
points
from that.
and Okay.
But it all depends on your situation, right? Like if you're obviously if you're already in debt, you know what I mean. You have to, if you don't, basically it's like saying cash, using cash, there's the credit card. People who use it, it's basically a wealth transfer.
Yeah,
it's basically it's the people who are not, the people who are wealthy are basically getting free stuff from the people who are not using credit cards. Essentially, that's how it works. That's how the system works. It's crazy, right?
I mean, I'm sure that happens in multiple different
ways.
It's all comes down to information at the end of the day, right? That's what
this podcast is for, right?
We do the work for you. You guys listen and you guys boom. That's how
you guys apply it and boom.
Yeah. Go like it, man. Go like the video, bro. I don't know why you guys haven't liked it yet.
So credit card companies don't want people who pay back all the money they owe every month.
Yeah.
And they don't want people who never pay the money back.
Yeah. That's why they make the monthly payment just to kind of stay afloat. So it's a small number, so it's so accessible. It's okay, I can not pay $2,000 if I pay $30. That's not bad. That's very reasonable.
Exactly.
So I can pay that $30 and it's not going to hurt my credit, and I'll be good. Yeah. But you're getting interest on the rest, which is slowly killing you, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Slowly and surely.
So between the two, between the person who pays it back in full, and the person who doesn't pay it at all, and basically goes bankrupt or whatever, or declares bankruptcy, everything in between is where they make all their money.
Let's show somebody an example of, because I know there's still a lot of people out here that don't know how to calculate interest.
Oh no, we're gonna get into that.
Oh, we'll
get into
wow,
that.
This guy's ahead of the game.
Oh yeah, we got it all. Don't worry.
Yo, you guys are plugged, eh?
Trust me.
So share the podcast, please.
Okay, so basically they have tricks to make sure that all those people in between, they make a lot of money off of you.
Yeah.
So basically, right now it's elite. Apparently, currently it's illegal to randomly mail you credit cards without you applying.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, they did that in 1958, right?
Yeah.
But they're allowed to send out as many offers as possible.
I feel like they did that. I feel like they did that. Like I feel like they changed that rule recently because I feel like I remember like them sending out credit cards to like my mom and my dad.
Way back, when I was young, I do remember that. Like you get a card in the mail.
They'll get a card in the mail, and then my mom would like either they'd be like, "Oh, this is good," or they'd be like, or they just cut it up, like, "No, we don't need this."
Yes, I do remember my dad cutting it up a bunch of times and all that. Yeah. So
yeah, basically,
recent.
at some point they basically said that shit is illegal. And you can only send offers.
All the Gen Z people were like, "What are you talking about, right?
Yo, what's a credit card? I use Shake.
You mean Bitcoin?"
So basically. The offers they send you, they cater to the customer they think you are, basically. Yeah, it's all like personalized. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so transactors will get offers for the cards with all the great perks and benefits. If they think you're likely to be a revolver, they'll send you something like 0% interest for the first 12 months because you're gonna run towards that, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so basically, this is what a behavioral psychologist said basically in the documentary about this. He's like, so when people see these rewards offered to them, they think about the free benefits. Yeah. Right? They think about all the things they can get with those free benefits. They don't think about that they have to pay for that. Right? So for example, there's a scenario where they're like, get 15,000 free points for spending $1,000 in purchases this month, right? So it's always $1,000 that somebody doesn't have, right? Because they're sending these to people who like don't even have that much.
And then I've literally done this before. You'll literally justify the purchase because you're like, yo, I'm getting these points anyways. Yo, I'm getting back. I'm getting cash back, so I'm not really technically.
No, but yo, taking it's $1,000 in purchases for $150 redeemable in gift cards. That's what you get back.
Unfortunately, if you fall for that, you're a dumbass. Yeah.
But that's literally what most of these cashback things are, right?
Yeah.
Like, it only makes sense when, I think you want to speak on this, like, if you're already going to spend that money and you already are disciplined, you understand the whole game, and you're going to pay your balance in full.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense, to do it just because you get something for free.
Exactly.
As soon as people see the word free, it's like, you know what I mean?
It's a psychological thing.
It's a
psychological thing. Yeah. You hear the cash back, and like, yo, like like I said, I've been burned like with the credit cards before.
I've been there too.
Yeah, and like, yo, that shit, like, it helps you justify purchases, especially when you don't have that discipline with your money. Yeah. Right. Like, and like, yo, that's how I've run up my credit cards and stuff doing that stuff before. You know, like.
Yeah. Luckily, you know, since I was a young guy, 15, 16 years old, I was old enough to get a credit card. My dad,
a young lad,
Yeah. My dad taught me about it, and he told me, these things are good, as long as you pay your full balance back, right? And he told me how expensive interest can be, right? And it's like, first of all, you shouldn't even be buying it if you can't really buy with your own money. So
I feel like that well, the schools obviously aren't teaching that. So I feel like that education comes like generationally. Like your parent is like not just telling your kid, make sure you pay it off at the end of the that doesn't mean shit. Like you have to like actually sit there and be like, hey, listen,
you really got to sit them down, man.
Hey, here, listen, Sangusin, like if you spend $2,000 on a month per month, and you should do the calculations. 19.99%. This is how much you're going to be paying extra on that money that you don't have. And if you fall behind, you have an emergency, you're going to get fucked. Then you can't get this $2,000 anymore because your credit's going to get dropped. You can't buy a car, you can't buy a house. Nobody talks about these things, you know? Like you talk about it when it's too late, or you find out about it when it's too late. You know what I mean? And then like you end up spending like 6 years to rebuild your credit, and then all your friends have sick cars and shit, and like they have like rental properties and shit, and you're like you're still like buying it with you're still using your debit card, you know?
Trust me, man.
It's real life. It's real life.
It's real life, bro, man. And luckily I did, like, I was taught all this stuff, and
and like, yo, like, 100%, and like, yo, credit is very important because it's like a lot easier
that's
way.
why we're making this episode, right? Like, so many people still probably don't know, right?
100%. Like, yo, that's how you, like, you need to have good credit to be able to access more money, so you can leverage good debt, so you can build your portfolio, you can build your wealth, you can build your passive income streams. It makes everything a lot easier. You have a lot more access to opportunities by having that good credit. And I feel like that whole conversation isn't even taught in school. They're talking about like God knows what in school these days, right? But they're not talking about credit and all this important shit that should be taught to everyone. But if it's taught to everyone,
it's basically a trust system, right?
It's
like
a trust
having
system.
good credit means that you're a trustable person, right?
Exactly.
And
That's where the
comes
name
down to.
credit comes from, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Credit rate.
But at the end of the day, like, yo, like, you know, just if you guys are either watching or listening and, you know, you fucked up your credit or, you know, you're in a position where you're paying down your credit, don't be like, yo, fuck, I fucked up my credit. Like, you think of it in a way, like, set up a plan, call your credit card company, and you can set up a plan, like a repayment plan, or like figure out a way to make more money to pay down that credit, and you can actually rebuild it, and like, it's not the end of the world. Like, it'll take some time, but yo, there's way more other options, and a good place to start is by following our podcast.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, and you know, that's a great point. Like, in the documentary, they literally made a really good example, which is like, say you have $10,000 of credit card debt, right? You know, and then you see your statement every month, and it has like a minimum balance of like $22 or whatever, right?
You're not really paying that shit.
Yeah, right. And essentially, you can just look at it like, okay, first of all, like, you basically want to pay down your whole balance. Like, obviously, at this point, okay, $10,000. If you're carrying the balance, more than likely you can't afford to pay it down
100%
right away, right?
Especially if you're making like what, like $3,000 a month.
Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So and so basically, you can just look at it like, okay, you want to pay it off in 2 years, you got to create a plan, right? So you okay, $5,000 in 1 year, $5,000 the other year. Now you divide that by 12. How much do you have to pay into it every single month? Now you automate it. You automatically that money is going to come out of my account every single month. And at the end of those 2 years, maybe there's gonna be a little bit of extra interest you're gonna have to pay. Yeah. But all is gone, and you just made one decision. You just automated it. You calculated it. You automated it. That money's out. Like, that's not even your money. That's the credit card company's money. You know what I mean? It's gone. Right? Instead of paying the $10 minimum whatever, and you're paying it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because the principal that you're paying on that is what, like probably like $1.
Yeah. Because I've been there. I've been there,
bro. I've been there. Trust me.
You know, this is what happens. You know, you don't learn it. You're not learning in school. You're not learning at home. Like, this is what happens.
Yeah.
Like, you have to learn it online. Or
$7,000.
You have to get burned. You know?
You have to get burned. Yeah. Honestly, if
obviously like someone teaches you.
Someone teaches you. Yeah.
You either gotta get taught, or you either gotta get burned,
or you listen to this podcast.
Or you gotta listen to this podcast for you to like really see the leverage in all of these things that are like so like, I don't know why people don't talk about this shit. It's super weird.
The stigma, right? It's like people will there's a study that said that people accurately reported their mortgage, how much their mortgage is, but they will never accurately report how much debt they have, credit card debt. They'll always want to report the credit card debt, because you don't want to be like, oh, I have so much credit card debt, because at the end of the day,
it's an embarrassment, because you're like,
it's like you're overspending, and sometimes it's actually people who have the credit card debt are actually using it on regular things. They're not even using it on like luxury things. They're just doing regular things, and they
like
still
groceries,
have so much, because they just can't afford it, but they just fell into this hamster wheel of
that's
cycle.
The deal. That's the dirtiest cycle to get into. Like, once you use your credit card for an emergency, you're already fucked at that point. You're already fucked at that point.
Yeah, and like the basically a good way to look at it is not using your credit card as a debt vehicle, but using it as a convenience mechanism. And by that, what I mean is like a debit card. So a debit card is a convenience mechanism. You use it because you don't want to be pulling out, $5.25 or whatever to pay exact change. Exactly. You want to be able to tap without having so much money in your wallet.
Have that transaction go through, and then you just pay it back.
Yeah, right? and then the thing that happens is there's a study by I think it was Carnegie. I think Carnegie Mellon University. It's like a prestigious.
Yes.
Andrew Carnegie's university.
Yeah, Andrew Carnegie. Basically, Carnegie and Mellon they merged basically, right? And they did a study with I think MIT. MIT did a study. These guys reported it. They released the research, and MIT did a study on brain activity when you make a purchase with cash or debit versus credit.
Yeah.
Guess what happens?
People who use credit are
there's no brain activity at all going on.
Yeah.
You don't feel anything.
Yeah.
And when you use cash or debit, it activates the pain centers in your brain.
Yeah, because that's literally, because then you're
losing something.
It's like, just say for example, you make like $1,000 bi-weekly. Like, I'm just thinking like a standard 9 to 5, right? $1,000 bi-weekly on your paycheck, and then when you spend like $400, that's fucking you spend $500. Literally, you look at it as in like 1 week of my life just went out.
Yeah.
Versus like you spending $500 off a credit card that you have with a $10,000 balance on it. You're like, I have $9,500 left to spend.
Exactly.
I'm in a good place. You know.
Yeah.
And I got cash back.
Yeah. And these
points or whatever.
yeah.
And these credit card companies, they know that they spend so much money marketing to you.
Yeah.
And studying human behavior.
Yeah, I'm actually glad I'm actually glad that I'm participating in this episode right now because I'm currently in a credit rebuilding process myself right now, and like just hearing this not only is motivating me to like push even harder in that rebuilding process. But yeah, like I'm grateful to be here, and I know that a lot of people listening and watching are gonna be.
They're probably gonna be grateful.
Yeah,
too,
yeah, because it's like once you understand the system, it's like everybody they work differently, but once you understand the system, like it's easier for you to hack your way through and like come out on the other end, like when you know the other party's motivation, right? So it's very interesting because like it's very easy to just kind of get sidetracked with like all the crazy shit that happens to you, like whenever things come ahead of you. But I don't know, just knowing the compounding of actions that you don't take, like just hearing the calculations and how much it can actually fuck you up long term, it's very important. Right, so I think by people watching or like listening, like you can really get that bigger picture, and like I think that also that Netflix documentary, it's like can really open your eyes as well. And I know it opened your eyes because that's why you're here right now.
100%.
Yeah,
I watched it, a year or two ago, and I watched it again today.
I'm gonna watch it like literally this. I'm probably gonna watch it. I'm probably gonna watch it tonight.
It's like the best, like. You know what I mean? Like, where else would you get that information? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the
you
fact
probably
that
have to watch a bunch of different videos.
Yeah, but they took it all into one little thing, and they made like a really 23 minutes. You learn so much really life-changing stuff in 23 minutes.
100%.
Yeah,
it's crazy, right? And
but yeah, honestly, if you guys are hearing this and this inspires you to like rebuild your credit and stuff, like we want you guys to come back and like 2 years or like 3 years or whatever, and like comment on this video and be like, this video is a video that opened my eyes to this shit, and like let us know what you got approved for. Let us know which Beamer you're driving now. You know?
Yeah.
We want you guys all to be transactors, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. At the end
I
want
to be a transactor.
Yeah. We should all want to be transactors. Like as someone who's almost at that point, like I just want to say that like you want to get to that point where you're off that hamster wheel of being a revolver. You don't want to be in that hamster wheel. Once you get out, you want to be a transactor forever. You want to never carry a balance. That's the golden rule. And anything away from this.
And you're doing this for yourself. You're not doing this for anybody else. You're doing this literally for yourself. It makes your life easier by having that access. Like even in situations like just say like you want to start a business or whatever. You like if you had access to like a $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 line of credit. Starting that business will be especially if you have the information, like starting that business would be way easier. You can get it done faster instead of like
going and asking people.
Like yo, bro, can I borrow $1,000? Yo, bro, can I borrow
this and that to get the money?
Yeah, you can just borrow it and get the fucking process started. Like that's like so many benefits of having good credit, and like you won't know until you don't have it.
Yeah, and like you just want to use your credit. Like I think you can add to this. Like use your credit card as if it's a debit card.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't spend it unless you have the cash to pay it down.
You should easily be able to be a transactor, because you should never be buying something that you can't afford to pay back the next day.
Yeah,
you have 30 days to 50 days to pay that back, but you should be able to pay it back the next day. And if you can't, you really shouldn't be buying. That's literally all how I follow my purchases. And
like one thing that I learned is to use your like you should use your credit cards as like a debit card. So for example, like instead of using your debit card to go buy like just you want to buy like let's say you're trying to buy lunch and your lunch comes up to like $20. Instead of using your debit card, you use your credit card, right? And then you literally pay that $20. You literally go into your banking account and then you pay that $20 into your credit card, and that's like literally the safest and best way to like use your credit card. Your credit score will be sick, you'll get your points, and like everyone's happy at the end of the day, right? And like you're not going to carry on a balance. Carry on a balance is when you start losing money, and then you become what was the other word?
A revolver.
The revolver, exactly. Yeah. And you do not, trust me, you do not want to be a revolver. That shit will
and
fuck
trust
you
me,
up.
man, like being a transactor since the beginning, it comes with a lot
of benefits.
Yeah,
it's not just the benefits from the points. It's a lot of way more benefits.
It's just the credit. The credit is the main thing. Like, fuck the points, right?
Since the beginning, my credit card started at probably like 1,500, just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And
really, your first one was 1,500?
Something like that.
Taking my first one, they gave me 6 racks.
Yeah,
maybe that's why.
But I was probably even younger than you when I first started mine.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. No, I got mine at 18.
Yeah, I got it at like I think 15 or 16.
Oh, because you got it on your dad.
Yeah.
Okay. That's smart.
So because I got it so early, I had a low credit limit, but because I was a transactor since the beginning, every 6 months it was going up $3,000-$4,000.
Yeah.
Right. And today my main credit card is at like $41,000 limit. Right. And it's fucking possible.
You gonna put that out there?
Should we not?
If you want to. It's bad. It's not bad.
Yeah.
No, it's just, and I'm sure you can. And knowing you, like I'm sure if you called into the bank, you can probably get way more than $41,000.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. On this podcast we have all different perspectives, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't just be like, like whatever. Like we all have the same knowledge right now.
Yeah.
At this moment, we have the same knowledge.
We have the same knowledge, but that's the thing. That's the beauty, because like we all come from like different backgrounds and stuff too. Yeah. So like like anybody who's watching or listening, you can be like, okay, I relate to this guy. I relate to this guy. I relate to this guy. And then if you don't relate to any one of us, then I guess then you're just fucked, right?
Exactly.
I mean, we have both sides of the coin right now. We have both sides of the coin right here at the table, right? So,
exactly.
So something crazy that I heard today when I was doing some research for the podcast is McDonald's back when they first started offering credit, they're allowing you to use credit to make purchases. Way back when, I don't know when they started.
They probably were one of the first guys to do it, because McDonald's
they were one of the first. They were one of the first
on top of everything.
And everyone was like, "Oh, why would you accept credit?" There's and McDonald's basically said it's going to prevent shrinkage. Shrinkage is basically employees stealing.
Yeah. That's actually true.
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
So they were okay with it, and they were okay with it because they did research, and the research found people are 78%. People spend 78% more when they use credit.
Wow.
Than they would otherwise spend.
That's a good statistic for businesses to know, man, because that's a lot more, man.
I feel like the small,
that's why these businesses, despite the 2 to 4%, they will still accept credit, because people are spending more than they would otherwise spend.
It goes back to the grape and watermelon thing, right? Yeah, very true. Okay, interesting.
Yeah, so that's crazy, right? Like, it's like people, like, if for example you have your credit card, you just got your 18, you just got your credit card, and you're
like, yo, lunch on me, guys.
Literally,
I've done that, bro. I've fucking done that, bro.
Yeah, you literally do that. But what if you had your debit card or you had cash?
Yo, then I'd be like, I wouldn't even offer,
Exactly.
Unless it's a coffee, When I'm 18, now I offer, but when I'm 18, like, that's a different story, Back in the day, like, I pump gas, I fucking buy McDonald's, I have no money till next week,
Exactly.
Exactly. So I thought that was crazy, like 78% more. Like, not even like 10% more. 78, like almost double what you would spend.
Bro, that's actually crazy. That's actually insane.
That's a
78% increase in your fucking sales.
And this is for fast food.
No, I mean, it doesn't mean it increases by 78%, but there's a potential that they can spend up to 70%.
On average, though. On average,
yeah. So like, instead of spending $2, you spend like $7 or something.
And it makes sense why a lot
that math doesn't work.
Instead of spending $5, you might spend like 8 or 9.
But now it also makes sense why like McDonald's or like all these other companies, they would partner up with these credit card companies. And they'd be like, oh, yo, you can buy. I'm pretty sure McDonald's obviously would have a credit card, or they had one before. I'm pretty sure. Right? And they go, you buy McDonald's, you get like so many X amount of points, you get like fucking because you use this credit card.
Amazon has a credit card.
Yeah, Amazon. But for example, you can be like, oh, you use this credit card, you get free large fries every time you buy. What if they can do that?
And just what we were talking about earlier. You think about the free large fries, you don't think about how much money you're spending for the free large fries.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You spend like $500.
You buy $50, right?
It's like someone goes out, they buy a fridge, and they're like, oh, I got free large fries.
And they have like 2 fridges already.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, man. It's crazy. The credit game is crazy, man.
Very interesting.
So yeah, let's talk about interest. Let's talk about interest.
Okay.
So So interest, right? So basically
wait. For those of you that really don't understand, what is interest?
Okay.
I think you should.
So
what is interest?
All right. So let's just say you just got your first credit card. All right. Let's just say you got it on the first, right? Most likely your billing cycle won't be until the next month, like in the middle of the next month, right? No. So it's not exactly 30 days. It's actually 50 days, right? That's
30 to 50 days.
It's 30 to 50 days.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So that's how it works, right? Let's just say
that again. Say that again, because I said no.
So
say it louder for the people in the back.
Yeah, say it louder for the people in the back.
Okay. So let's just say.
So guys, for the people in the back, what is interest? So
let's just say you just got your credit card, and let's say you got it on the first, and you start making purchases. Let's just say your due date for that first cycle. To my knowledge, it's about 50 days from the time it started, right? So let's just say it's like mid-month next month, right? So let's just say you got it on January 1st. It's like February 16th. Right? On February 16th, if you don't pay for everything you used from January 1st to January 31st, you're going to be charged interest on everything that you don't pay back on that due date.
So what would be like an average? Just say I spent $1,000. Yeah. What is so the average credit card? The interest rate is on average about 19.99. Right. So if I were to spend $1,000, how much would I owe on that?
So Vint, you actually have those numbers, right?
Yeah. So there's a quick way to do it, and then there's if you want precisely down to the dollars, right?
I'll go through the quick way, and then we'll go in precise.
We'll do the precise one.
Yeah.
So let me just pull this up here. Yeah. So how do you calculate your interest charge for your credit card? Right. So you divide your APR, which is annual percentage rate.
Yeah.
Divide that by the number of days in the year.
So, most credit cards are 19.99%. So that 19.99% would get divided by 365.
Okay. Because it's 365 days in the year.
Yeah. Yes. And this gives you the daily periodic rate of interest. Your daily periodic rate.
So, on a day. So this would be like your daily interest rate. So if you were to break it down, this is how much interest you're being charged on a day-to-day basis.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you multiply the credit card company, they multiply that by your average daily balance.
So they'll calculate it by the day for the 30 days. For the 30 days, and then they'll add that up, and then that's
divide that by 30. They'll add the 30 the balance at the end of every single day.
Yeah.
Add it up. Divide it by 30 to get the average daily balance.
Okay, yeah.
For that month.
Yeah.
Right? So, but let's just say in this scenario, $1,000. That's your average daily balance. That they calculated and they got $1,000. So, like, basically, you might have, had a balance of, $5 one day for like a week, and then you had like $1,200 for another week, and then you had a balance, and then you paid all that stuff off. But your average balance for that month, on average, what was your balance? $1,000, right? So the average daily balance multiplied by the daily periodic rate, your daily interest rate, right? So that number, whatever number you get, you multiply that by the number of days in your billing cycle. Which is usually 30.
It's 30. Yeah, 30 or 31, right?
Yeah.
Or 28.
Or 28.
If you're
or 29 if it's a leap year.
And that gets you how much interest you owe for that month.
For that month, right? So, it's obviously a little bit complicated for just spitting it out. If you're sitting on a whiteboard, we can probably explain a little bit better. But
yeah, we'll probably do a video on that in the future.
Yeah, comment down below if you guys want us to make like a reel on that. And if you guys aren't following us yet, click down below. I already mentioned this before.
Trust me. Really some bangers on Instagram.
Yeah, some crazy shit out there.
All right, guys. I hope you guys learned a lot this episode. We touched on a lot of key points, the history, the difference between revolvers and transactors. And, I really hope you guys figure out how you can do your best to be a transactor. Do your best to only spend money that you actually have and can afford to pay back, because really that's the way things should be. You really shouldn't be buying things you can't afford, right? Credit cards kind of just teach us and make us feel like we can when we really shouldn't be, which allows us to get into the whole deathly debt cycle, right? So do you guys want to add anything on there?
Yeah, like I think we should stop. I know it's just natural when you get a credit card. You look at your overall credit limit and you would assume that that's how much money you have, but that's not the money you have. Exactly. The money that you have is what's in your bank account right now.
Yes. That's a great point.
Exactly. Right? So that's the money you have. And like obviously like sometimes you would use your credit card to offset certain payments and stuff. So like you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get paid on Friday, so I'm just gonna use this right now. But what if you use your credit card on Monday, and then by the time you get paid on Friday, you had like an emergency that happened,
or you got sick, you didn't go into work for
or exactly, or you didn't go into work or whatever, right? Whatever, something came in between where like, yo, you didn't make the amount of money that you anticipated to make. Now you're already behind, and that's how it all starts. Exactly. And it usually starts very small, and then once you start going down that, it's like a snowball, right? Once that snowball gets bigger and bigger and bigger, at a point the snowball gets so big that like you're not even pushing it anymore. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger on its own,
and you can't even afford to pay it.
And you can't even afford to pay it because your income is still fixed.
Yeah, and now you're stuck in this revolver like.
You're a slave to the credit card at that point.
Yeah,
you're a slave to the credit card at that point, and the only way for you to get out of that is to either call the credit card company and be like, hey, listen, like I want to set up a payment plan, and they might temporarily stop your interest, but that's only very, very small things. Like,
but what you can do, like what we talked about earlier is you figure out how much your total balance is, how many years you want to pay it off in, divided by split up that amount, so like 10,000 split into 2, 5,000, and automate the payments coming out of your bank account every time you get a paycheck, and goes towards that.
100%. And automate it to the amount of discretionary income you have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to automate it to like some crazy number where you don't have money for rent and groceries.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. You want to always like we always say, like, you want to always overestimate what your expenses are going to be, and underestimate your income, because that's usually how it goes. And like at the end of the day, life always happens. Like you might be like all fine and dandy for like maybe 2, 3, 4 months, and then your fucking engine blows on your car, or like your fucking like your tire pops or whatever. These are all these small expenses. You have birthdays, your boy might be getting married, or like like you go to the club one day. You never know. You might be at the club one day. You might be drunk as fuck and you pop a bottle and now you lost $350. Like obviously, like that's all preventative stuff. But like there's certain things that you can't prevent. Are going to happen regardless. So you have to plan for those contingencies in ahead of time.
You can't predict when you're going to have an emergency, right?
Exactly.
That you're going to need money for. And I think you touched on it. Like what's really important that we should talk about. And initially I was gonna include the whole personal finance, budgeting, and discretionary income stuff, discretionary expenses part at the end of this episode. But we're gonna do a whole separate episode on that.
Because that's important.
Episode, because what you touched on is for those emergencies. This is why you should have an emergency fund.
Yes.
If you have that emergency fund, you won't be like, oh, my last line of defense is my credit card. I'm just going to swipe it and pay it. When you don't have that cash to pay it down, now you're suddenly a revolver.
Yeah.
And now you're going to carry that balance. But if you have emergency fund, I know we always say like, oh, don't keep your money in cash or in savings or whatever, but like that it's like a rainy day fund or emergency fund. You never want to touch that money. Never. That's like think of that as your credit card. In an emergency scenario, like, you should have an emergency fund.
We should change our mindset from like, I have a credit card just in case, to I have my rainy day fund just in case. My credit card is my debit card.
It's a convenience.
I'll still use my credit card, and then I'll just pay it back with the emergency funds.
Yeah, it's a convenience mechanism. It's not a free debt vehicle basically that like you can just run up to your limit and like and you'll pay it back later. Don't ever fall into that pay it back later thing.
If you guys fuck up your credit, like trust me, like imagine like you might need to get a car for work. You might need to get a car because you know what, maybe you worked and like you're like, you know what, I deserve this car, and getting turned down for a car is like one of the worst feelings. If that's your thing, or down the road in the future, like you want to buy a house or whatever.
Yes.
Like getting turned down for a mortgage is the worst thing ever. But but you can actually still get a mortgage with bad credit. You guys can DM me privately for that. But you're paying more in interest, or like you got to put more money up front as a down payment.
Yes.
In order to get that same asset that somebody with good credit would have been able to get with like literally 5% or 10% down.
It's always better to have better credit.
It's always, you're literally setting yourself back by having shitty credit in every way possible. Even if you do get approved for a car through some fucking sketchy link, like you're paying like almost like 10, 12, 13, maybe even up. I've even seen up to 20% interest.
Really matters, like when you're trying to get ahead, right?
Exactly, because every single thing is going to count, especially when your income is. It doesn't even matter if you're making. It doesn't even matter if you're making crazy money. Because this was my mindset. Like when I was younger too, I'm like, oh, that's fine. Well, I'm gonna be rich when I'm older, anyways. I'll just pay it off. That's the stupidest fucking thing you could say, because you don't want to make all this money to reinvest. Like, sorry, no, that's not what I'm trying to say. You don't want to make all this money to go and put it into like assets. That's how you don't get ahead in life. You get ahead in life by leveraging money, right? Like you want to leverage borrowed money to get ahead in life. You don't want to use your own hard-earned money, because then you're going to be broke like for like your entire life existence, And like it's harder to scale. There's so much negatives that come with having bad credit. And trust me, guys, you guys want to really pay attention to that shit. And
when you spend money that you don't have, like, and you put yourself in a hole, you put yourself in debt, what you're essentially doing is you are basically spending your future time.
Yes.
Kind of thing, right? You like that time. You're like you said earlier, like the, X amount of dollars, like you're spending like 2 weeks of your life or whatever, like whatever your debt is, like you're spending like X amount of your life in debt, and you're gonna have to pay that back in the future, but like you're taking that freedom away from yourself essentially. You know what I mean? Like where you could have been, instead you could have been, buying your first house or something. You're gonna buy the car that you want, buying whatever, but instead that money's not yours. That's a credit card company's money. You gotta pay.
And you're jumping through so many loopholes and like options and shit to like try to make something simple happen. Like literally, like I'm gonna go back to the car example. Literally, like buying a car, you're gonna go to dealership after dealership after dealership to see who's gonna approve you for your credit, versus you just walking into the dealership, be like, I want that one.
Yeah, and they're like, no problem.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, it's already signed up. The car's already on start. Here's your keys, buddy.
Exactly. It's just much smoother.
It's just much smoother, so then you can use that time to go back to fucking work.
And they roll out the red carpet for you, right?
Yeah, exactly. Trust me, when you have good credit and you go into these institutions,
you get treated very well.
They will take care of you.
I know you were gonna say something else.
It's a family-friendly show.
Trying to keep it family-friendly.
We have a little cussing here and there, but it's fine.
You guys are gonna learn that anyways, right?
But so just wrapping up, like we kind of address the person who has a credit card and is trying to hopefully get out of debt, or isn't in debt, but now you're like for sure not going to get into debt after learning these things. But the next episode that we do, we're gonna focus on the person who doesn't, or has a credit card and barely uses it, or the person who's scared to use their credit card and thinks it's you should never use a credit card.
It's made by the devil, right?
Yeah, like and talk about why it is good to use a credit card and the good things that come with it, and the good thing kind of like leverage and how to improve your credit score, what affects your credit score, and then budgeting, your personal finance. All that is going to be wrapped into the next episode.
Nice. We can't put a link to the Netflix episode. I don't think we can take links and put it. You can?
Actually, I don't know about that. But
links for
I can put the name of the.
Sure. We'll put the name of the episode. If you guys have Netflix, you guys can go check it out. And then
I'm sure a lot of you have Netflix.
Statistically.
I think we got everything down, right?
Yes.
All right, guys. Really enjoyed the podcast, being here. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And if you guys haven't liked or subscribed and hit the bell notification button by now. I hope we earned it by now.
Exactly.
And
Episode
if you know,
9. Right?
Huh?
Episode number 9.
Episode number 9.
Many
We're almost
more to
at
go.
10.
Many more to come.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Also share it to your friends as well. You know, like you'd be surprised. A lot of people have pretty shitty credit, right? So send it to your friends, even to that good credit or whatever. If you guys aren't in that, send it to whoever. You know,
and maybe they don't want to. They just don't want to tell you. Maybe you wouldn't even know that they don't have good credit, and you know. And
sometimes you got to be. Sometimes you have to be okay with being vulnerable and be like, hey, you know what? This is what I'm dealing with right now, right?
Yes, exactly.
Like, for me to come on like a fucking podcast, I don't know how many people are gonna watch this, but like for me to come on this and just be like, yo, this is what I'm doing right now. Like, I don't give a fuck because like I'm not identifying that, like just because like I'm rebuilding my credit, I'm not identifying with that. You know, I'm that's the thing. I didn't say I have bad credit. I said I'm rebuilding my credit.
That's the situation you're in.
That's
but
you're taking steps.
I have a game plan and everything, exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I'm working towards that right now, right? So like, it's okay. Like, you know, like nobody, credit cards don't come. Well, they do come with an instructional booklet, but they make it like fucking so small, nobody reads that shit, right? Yeah. So you know, like share this, educate everybody around you, and like be okay to be open and okay to have these conversations with your peers, because that's how you're gonna help each other grow, and that's how you can make wealth possible.
Exactly. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help you guys out. Let's make smart decisions together and grow together, and do it up together.
Yeah.
And especially if you appreciate the transparency on this show. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, because I'm sure you can appreciate the transparency on the show. Bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't give a fuck, yo. It is what it is.
You know what I mean? It's not every show is going to be transparent, right?
Yeah.
Alrighty then.
All right, guys. Take it easy.